Here we go.
We're going to build Me Incorporated. How do we do that? How do we build a business within the business at the dealership? Take a look at page 112. We need to have multiple sources of income. Now, in order for us to have multiple sources of income, we need multiple sources of prospects. Remember, we talked about that earlier. Multiple sources of prospects. So how do we build our pipeline? What do we put in our pipeline? Where do we get these customers? How do we get a steady stream of customers coming in to see us? And is it possible to do that? Or is that just available for a select few people? Well, if you go into just about any dealership, USA, there's really only a few select people inside the dealership doing it. But does it work? Of course it works. It works for anyone who wants to do it and for anyone who will do it. The problem is most people give up before it gets going because they don't see the whole picture. They don't believe that they can generate, that many prospects, so they just give up on follow-up. And when you give up on follow-up, you're doomed. Because if you don't have customers in front of you, you can have the best skills in the world, you can be the best closer, and you can have the best attitude, and you can be fired up, ready to go. But if there's no people, what do you got?
Nothing.
It's just like everything else. That's why we need it all. That's why it's skills, habits, attitude, and follow-up. But we have to have the follow-up. Take a look at page 112. Follow up effectively with your sold and unsold prospects. That's number one. This is the 5 strategies to building Me Incorporated. Number one is to follow up effectively with your sold and unsold prospects. What's a sold prospect? Anyone that you sold yesterday or anyone that you sold 6 months ago or a year ago or 3 years ago or 5 years ago. What's an unsold prospect? Someone that was in the dealership, right? And they did not buy. Unsold prospect. Number 2, get at least 2 new referrals each day. Number 3, consider everyone you meet a potential customer or referral source for your product and program. Joe Girard, I talked about him earlier. He's the #1 salesperson. He's in the Guinness Book of World Record. He holds the record for car sales. Now, Joe Girard, they said, what's your secret, man? How do you, that's a lot of cars. What's your secret? Joe Girard said, every time I touch a customer, my hand touches them, I think to myself, I'm not just touching one customer, I'm touching 10. That was his philosophy. If I meet someone and I get in front of them, I'm going to meet 10 people because of this one human being. And that's what he did. He sold one person a car, or if he didn't sell that person a car, he stayed in contact, and then he would get referrals. He would get referrals. And then he would get repeat, and he would get referrals. Step 3, consider everyone you meet a potential customer or referral source for your product and program. Number 4, keep your follow-up system organized and up to date. What's the death of follow-up? Organization. There's no way you're going to get it done if you're not organized. If you don't know who to call, if it's not spelled out for us, when I say us car people, we're so messed up. If it doesn't tell us what to do, we don't normally do it, do we? We'll let the day take us over. It's true. Let's just tell the truth. That's what we do. So we got to get organized. We got to get it in front of us, and it has to be spelled out. So let's get organized and up to date. Invest 30 to 60 minutes a day in developing and maintaining your pipeline. Remember, you have customers that are cold. You have customers that are warm. You have customers that are hot. Our whole goal is to take the hot customers and turn them into solds. Our whole goal is to take our warm customers and turn them into hot. And our whole goal is to take our cold customers and turn them into warm. And we just keep that pipeline, going. Page 113, referrals have a 50% closing ratio compared to a 10 to 15% for walk-in traffic. Oh, our credit's bad. Everybody comes in here, they can't buy. It's terrible. It's terrible. Hey, I got a quick tip for you guys. You want to know how you can not ever have to deal with someone with really bad credit with like 5 repos that you can't get done if they had half down, that bad. You want to know a way where you'll never get that again?
You get your referrals from the people you sold, because I have found a long time ago that people that have good credit normally so do their friends.
Yes, they
I don't know
do.
if that's a proper answer, but that's my opinion.
That is the answer. If birds of the same feather what? Flock together. Okay? Some of them may not, but could you get a car deal out of it? Of course. And here's how you do it, or you'll never get it again. It's just like Ed said, quit taking ups. Quit taking ups. And you don't have to go stand out on a lot and wait for a 10% closing ratio or 15% closing ratio, or if you're really good, 20% closing ratio. If you're really good and you can get them back, you know, it's like a 20% closing ratio of those fresh ups. But wouldn't you rather have a 50% closing ratio? Or just anything higher than 10% or 20%? We got to mix it up with some referrals and some repeats, and that's the way to do it, by not taking as many ups. Now, do we need to take ups? That doesn't mean go back to the dealership and quit taking ups. But do we need to have a plan in place so in the future, eventually, we won't have to take ups? Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. We're either working on a plan to get that way, or are we already that way? There's no in between. You must be working on something for that. It's the only guarantee that we have in this business. Number 2, referral sales have a higher gross than walk-in traffic. Is that true or false? That's true. You know why? They already like, listen, and believe us. That's right. They already like us.
Before they even get there.
Exactly. Someone already told them about us. Referrals are more fun to work with, and it's easier to close on the right vehicle. Is that true? Number 4, referrals cost you pennies compared with walk-in traffic, which costs you hundreds. That's speaking to the dealer. Some dealerships spend $600, $1,000 for everybody they sell because of advertising. That's a lot of money. How much money does it cost to make a phone call and get a referral? Pennies, basically. It takes your time. It's worth something. Number 5, building a referral-based business will make you rich, period. The people in dealerships who sell the most cars are not usually the ones that are the best closers. They're the ones that are the best at following up, period. The ones that are best at following up. All right, now I have an example of a referral script on page 113 for you guys to take with you as well. Flip over to page 114. Prospecting. Here's a goal for you guys, and you can write in your answer. It says, I will add blank new people to my database every day. That's for you to decide, and don't put a quick answer in there. You need to figure out what's realistic and achievable. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Don't put on there that you're going to add 5 new people to your database every day if you've been averaging 1 up a day for the last month. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So once you figure out how much you can do a day times 6 days, let's say you have 6 working days, or if you have 5 working days, equals how many per week. And when you figure out how many you're going to add a week, do that times 52. And then that's how many you'll add to your database in a year. Now you can put a plan together. If you added just 2 new people to your database every day, you'd have over how many contacts? You'd have 600. What could you do with 600 contacts at the end of the year? 1 year. 1 year you can have 600 contacts in your database. But too many people are busy crying and whining that it's slow. Think about it for a second. 2 new prospects to your database. What if you got their email address? What if you have their mobile phone number and you could do a blast text? What if you had their email and you could do a blast email? Just a thought. Where to prospect? Where do we prospect? Everywhere we go. Number 2, join lead generation, speaking, and networking groups. Like Toastmasters, Chamber of Commerce, charities, special interests. Other groups and groups of people that you already associate with. Like what? Church, clubs, fitness place, kids' schools, sports teams, etc. We know where to get contacts, right? Places and people you do business with already, like the cleaners, the bank, people we see all the time. I knew this one guy at a dealership probably about 15, 14 years ago. He used to sell about 40 cars a month, and he would sell everybody a vehicle. He was a follow-up machine. And he followed up so good, all the other salespeople made fun of him. They said the only reason he had all those deals is because he went to a big church. They said that he couldn't close a door if it had 3 doorknobs on it. They said he was weak, but he sold 40 cars a month. And all he did was sit at his desk and he worked that phone over and over and over. And he worked that phone over and over and over and over. Month in and month out, he used to beat everybody. And everybody made fun of him. Does that make sense? That's the car business for you, right? All right, look at the next one. What's some other ideas? Where can we meet people? You guys help me out. You already said like dry cleaners, grocery stores, whatever. Does that mean that we're just going to walk around and say, hey, hey, here's my card? At the gym, at the restaurant. What is prospecting? It's real simple. You might want to write this down. Prospecting is just telling people who you are, where you work, and what you do. How many times has a customer came in the dealership and is dealing with another salesperson and you notice that person and they know you and they see you and they come give you a big hug and they're just about wrapping up a car deal with someone at your dealership and they always say, well, I didn't know you work here. Has that ever happened to you? I can't be the only one it's ever happened to. Man, what a feeling that is, right? Prospecting is letting people know who you are, what you do, and where you work.
Never leave a tip unless you leave a business card.
Unless you leave a business card. Do you know that's how I got married? Seriously.
Is that why you also divorced?
Yeah. It probably is, but no, seriously. Seriously, I was married for 11 years. That's how I met my wife. I met her at Chili's. We were talking. It was lunchtime. She was a college student, and she waited on me, and she was like, what in the world are you doing working on, I think it was like Labor Day or something. I was like, well, I'm at work selling. She goes, why are you eating lunch at 4 o'clock? I was like, well, because I had a deal or something. We had a nice conversation, and when I left my business card on the table, and she washed it, and only the number was left. And so she called me to come look at a car or something. That's how I met my wife. Isn't that kind of silly? But it's true. Don't ever leave a tip without leaving your what? Your business card. A business card. All right. Compliment them on their service or something. Like, thanks for the great service. Just write it on the back.
Make sure you also leave a good tip.
Yeah. Don't leave a quarter. Now, should you do that to get a car deal or just because it's the right thing to do? Or if you got good service. All right, prospecting. Prospecting. All right, here's the 3-step plan. Number 1, here's where we're prospecting. Start the conversation by building rapport. Always. They got to like us first, right? Ask a question, and it's not about cars, and demonstrate a genuine interest in the other person. So you're just meeting people, right? Number 2, offer them help in some kind of way. You got to have something to help them. Like if it's a real estate person, what can you do to help them? Can't you cross-reference and do referrals? Network with people. Talk to them. Be sure you get their name and number. Here's a rest of the 3-step plan. Step 3, follow up with a call. Call them to let them know it's nice to meet them and all that kind of good stuff. That's pretty much it, and there's some examples on there. Page 117. How about subprime customers? Where can we get some good leads? Can we get to know some mortgage people, someone we can cross-reference with? Be careful with that with your dealership because you know we got the do not call list and know that we have privacy acts and laws. So you have to do that the right way. Number 2, it says get access to the NOD list. That's a public list, NOD list. It's the NOD list. It's a notice of default. You guys know what that is? It provides public information about who's defaulting on some loans or struggling with their mortgage. comes from like complaints from banks, realtors, or you can get people to help you with that. It's a weekly list, and it's for the real estate business. Number 3, scan internet bulletin boards, i.e. www.craigslist.com. Go to Craigslist. Someone looking for a roommate? Look at the little letter at the bottom of the page. Pretty cool, huh? Look at page 118. Here's your funnel strategy. You got your contact database. C prospects, B prospects, A prospects. Remember, warm, cold, hot. Cold, warm, hot. Cold, warm, hot. Cold, warm, hot. Out of the box strategies. Number 1, weekly email campaign. Send it on Friday mornings. Keep it simple with no graphics. Include 4 simple elements. A short message, a car tip. Also put a quote of the week, and then your contact information. People like to read quotes. Send them a tip. If it's coming winter time right now, the service department's full of tips for customers, right? What to do in the winter for their car to help them. Send your customer a tip with a short message, and then send your contact information. Stay in touch with your customer. Send emails. How about a quarterly newsletter, page 120? Keep it simple. Include these types of elements. Car tips, quotes, recipes, trivia, contests. Anybody ever heard of a newsletter by a salesperson? There's a lot of people out there that do them. It's just a newsletter they send out quarterly. It'll have like a recipe from grandma, like a family recipe for chili or something that you can make, and just some news about the dealership and what's going on. And maybe your dealership is building a new facility right now or something like that. Maybe you let them know of the progress and when the new building's going to open, and hope you'll be able to come for the grand opening. And you have a recipe on there, and you have some tips on there, and then maybe, I don't know, there was one guy that was selling Suzukis, and he was one of the top Suzuki salespeople in the country. And they asked him how he sold so many vehicles. And he said that he sent out a newsletter, and he sent out one every other month. And he would have a cookout every year. And guess who came to the cookout? All his customers. He stayed in touch with them all year long, and once a year he would have a cookout. He would have all his family and his friends, and all of his customers were invited to the cookout. And he said that his customers looked forward to the cookout because it was always fun, a lot of food and games, and they had a good time. He's got something going on. He was one of the top salespeople in the country. And that's what he said. He said that's what he attributed it to, staying in contact with his customers and having a relationship. Imagine that. Number 3, birthday calls. Call everyone you know on the birthday and sing happy birthday to them. If you don't want to sing, just tell them happy birthday. Don't ask for a referral. And don't invite them in for coffee. Just tell them happy birthday. Does that make sense? Birthday plus 6 months call. Just say, I was thinking about you. After 6 months after the birthday, you want to stay in contact with them. Ask for a referral. Invite them in for coffee. Or a free oil change. Why don't you give your customers a free oil change? Why not? You could probably get the dealer in on that deal. I would bet. I don't know.
I say you're right.
Why 6 months? Why do we want to wait 6 months? It's just an easy way to organize your database. If you set it up birthday and in 6 months, if you did that with everybody, you would always have. You'll be hitting them 6 months after they talk to you last. Does that make sense? Thanksgiving call. Call as many people as you can the week before Thanksgiving. If you have too many people, select your best contacts. Start with your hottest contacts. Send a personal note with a comment about your conversation last time you talked to them. So make that phone call and drop a personal note about your conversation. It's good to talk to you on the phone. Nice hearing from you again. Let me know if you need anything. Drop it in the mail.